F5, maintaining client dignity, is a big one. It's a little abstract, maybe a little obscure, not as clear cut as the other items on our task list, but it doesn't mean it's any less important. Maintaining client dignity is all about treating clients with respect. Just because we work with populations who might have disabilities, who might have behavioral problems, who might have addictions, whatever population you're working with, it does not mean they're less than. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated with the same amount of respect as we give anyone else. And that is what F5 is all about. Client dignity is closely tied with confidentiality and communicating respect for the client. So when we talk about remaining confidential, keeping information private, we're also talking about maintaining client dignity. When we're talking about dual relationships, we're also talking about maintaining client dignity. So F5 really encapsulates all the other ethical items on our task list, okay? If we're doing everything else plus showing our client respect, then we're maintaining client dignity. So you only want to share client information with clients, caregivers, and supervisors unless you are told otherwise, meaning names, services, diagnosis, personal information, where they live, who their mom is, anything about them needs to be confidential, needs to only go to clients, caregivers, supervisors, unless again you're told otherwise, okay? Not only is this going to be a company policy, it's a BACB board policy, it's also a HIPAA policy, okay? So there's several things tying us to privacy. Just consider a situation where people or a client doesn't want people to know that they're getting services, right? Or that their child has this diagnosis, okay? You can't go around talking about this client, okay, as if everyone knows, because you never know who knows who, and that's the thing. You just don't know who knows who, okay? On top of that, it's privacy. Think about modern day and how important our privacy is to us, okay? It's the same thing here. You don't want somebody going around talking about your personal life, okay, without your permission. Same idea here. We need to respect our clients just as we respect anyone else. Let's do a question. Your supervisor often talks about the client with you in front of the client, but doesn't include the client in the conversation. You suggest the client should have some input, but your supervisor says, well, they have autism, so they won't understand. Has the client's dignity been maintained? Now, I don't really expect a supervisor to ever say this, okay? But I've heard it from other parties, okay? There's still this belief that these disabilities hinder the ability of a child or an adult to comprehend what's going on around them, okay? And so these people talk about them in front of them as if they weren't even there. Imagine how you would feel if someone was having a conversation about you and pretending you weren't there and that you didn't understand, right? That's how you have to view it. How would this make me feel if I was in this situation and somebody was doing this to me, okay? So has the client's dignity been maintained? A, yes. Depending on the level of functioning, this might be acceptable. No, right? One, it's level of functioning, right, is subjective. Two, you just don't do it, right? I mean, even if, let's say they are quote unquote low functioning, is it still right to talk about them in front of them as if they are not comprehending anything? No, right? You can ask the client to leave the room. You can bring yourself to another room, okay? It's totally fine to do that. You just shouldn't be having these conversations in front of them as if they aren't there. B, yes, your supervisor knows best. Your supervisor knows a lot, typically, but they don't always know best, okay? They're running the case, right? They're responsible for the case. They have different job duties than you, but they don't always know best, right? Everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody can be wrong, okay? They don't always know best. So in this situation, this supervisor did not know best. So B is wrong. So we have A is out, B is out. C, no, the client should be involved in every decision. Okay, so ethical questions, we want a strong answer, but we don't want too strong of an answer. C is too strong. The client should be involved in many decisions, okay? But every decision, no, right? They just don't we just can't afford them that luxury of being involved in every decision. Sometimes we're going to have to make difficult decisions they might not like, but it's for the best. Okay. So C is okay. It's just too strong. So D, you should respect your client, include them whenever possible. Yeah, pretty obvious, right? You want to include them when possible. The older they get, okay, the more skills they obtain, the better their communication. Especially, you want them to be included as much as possible. If they're teenagers, if they're adults, they should be really in these meetings, okay, and understanding what's going on in their lives. This is their life we're talking about, okay? So, has a client's dignity been maintained? No, you should respect your client and include them when possible. So continuing on with that theme of treating clients with respect, right, and including clients in decisions, again, we don't want to talk about clients as if they're not there, okay? You want to communicate with clients with age and skill appropriate language, meaning if you're working with a 5-year-old, okay, understand their level of communication and their level of skill and communicate with them like that. If you're working with a 16-year-old, you need to communicate with them based on their level of communication, okay, and their skill. We don't want to go to 14, 15-year-olds and talk to them like they're little children, okay? Just because they have a disability, right, doesn't mean they don't deserve the same respect as another teenager. How would you talk to a teenager? However you would talk to a teenager, talk to your client if they're at that level, okay? Communicate with them appropriately, right? We want to show them respect. Everything we're doing is for them, okay? And we should give that level of respect, okay, that we would give to anyone else. Bottom line, treat clients as you would treat anyone else. How would you show respect to others? However you would show respect to others, show that same level of respect to your clients. And that's really what F-5 is all about. It's taking all these other ethical terms and points from the task list, all these items, okay, and summing it up in one nicely wrapped package, right? Maintain client dignity, privacy, respect, okay, communication, all included. So, question: which of the following answer choices is an example of not maintaining client dignity? So we are not maintaining client dignity in one of these answer choices. In 3 of these answer choices, we are maintaining client dignity. Okay. Always read the question carefully and make sure we're not skipping over these not and except words. So A, Brenda, a BCBA allows the client to participate in conversations about their treatment plan. Is that maintaining client dignity? Yes, right? It's great, right? They allow the client to be a part of these conversations about their treatment plan, okay? So A is definitely an example of maintaining client dignity. What about B? Jim in RBT talks slower and more simply to a 13-year-old client with mild autism, but with good communication skills. This does not look great, okay? And this is sometimes what we see as a BCBA and new RBTs who maybe haven't worked with kids before or worked with these populations where they feel they need to talk differently to them. They put on that teacher voice, right? It's kind of condescending. And sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it, right? It's just kind of how we're conditioned as a society, okay? But a 13-year-old with good communication skills should be talked to like a 13-year-old with good communication skills, okay? That's how the world is going to treat them, and we need to treat them how the world is going to treat them, okay? Talk to them with good communication skills and not like they're 5 and 6 years old if they're above that level, okay? So B, this is not an example of maintaining client dignity. Always read all of your answer choices. Greg in RBT ensures privacy for his client when toilet training. Absolutely. Whenever we're doing any dressing programs, any changing, toileting, whatever it might be, privacy, 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 okay? Just because they might be a little kid, right? Or just because there may be an older adult with more severe impairments, give them privacy, right? How much privacy would you like when you're engaging in private actions, right? Ensure privacy. Good. And then D, Gina, a BCBA never shares information about her client with friends or family. Yep. Maintaining confidentiality, privacy. Very good. So the example of not maintaining client dignity is B. Jim and RBT talk slower and more simply to a 13-year-old client with mild autism, but with good communication skills. So that wraps it up. Again, looking for study materials, check out rbtexamreview.com, 2 practice exams, a full task list study guide. Our combo pack comes with everything, including flashcards, and of course, our competency study guide for your initial and your renewal. Please keep working hard, studying hard, sending in questions, sending in comments. Love to help. Would love to help you pass the exam. As always, I'll be back Sunday with our Sunday shout out. When you pass your exam, let us know. I'll be able to include you in that video. And the next week, 3 more videos coming. Be on the lookout for that. As always, study hard, and I will see you soon.